All right. Well, welcome to On the Record. This is basically where music and mental health meet. So I don't know about you, but have you ever had a moment where you put on a record or an album or a specific song and you just vibed out and it connected to you so much and you can't even describe why? Well, guess what? That's what we do here. We break down music that has impacted us on a big way. And we talk about the artists, we talk about the songwriters, we talk about where we were when we first heard it. And we talk about how it actually helped us through something that we didn't even know we needed help through. So I'm Shayna Christine. I am your host, and let's talk about it.
All right.
Well, I have one of my legitimate favorite people on the podcast today.
Ting.
And I can't say enough about her. So this is my heart. This is Lou. And she is the hair extraordinaire on every freaking level. When I tell you this is a businesswoman to a T. She keeps all of my edges straight at all times because Lord knows we need that help.
Real edges matter. Yes.
Real edges matter. And she is a mom. She is multi-business owner because hair just ain't it. Not just on your head, it's on your body too.
Hello, caller, are you there?
Right. Caller, are you there? the wax pro as well. 20 plus years in the game.
Yeah.
Okay?
It's been a long time.
Right? It's been a long time.
A long time.
Right? So, and the reason why it's funny because I have selected so many people, but a variety of people to be on this podcast. And one thing that me and Lou have always clicked on besides 217 other things, because we're both Aquarians, is music.
Yes.
And our obscene love for music. And every single person that I have on the podcast, I ask them before they come on, like, how does music affect your life? Do you listen to it every now and then? Do you literally depend on it for your breath, right? And that was her response. It was like, I can't function.
Yeah, every day.
Without music.
Every day.
Right? And here, it's always boggled my mind because this is such an important topic to me on how we just function on a day-to-day where we don't get that opportunity every now and then to be able to check in with ourselves because life's.
Yeah,
and life's hard at certain times, right? And not everybody can afford to go to a therapist all the time, but in my opinion, everybody can afford to find music.
Yes, it's
right?
somewhere.
Yes, it is somewhere. You can find it free on YouTube. You can have a streaming service and you pay $10 a month and get as much as you want, right? Like, you can still be old school. I collect vinyls too.
Yes.
Right? And it's literally the heartbeat of my life are these vinyls.
Yes.
Or you can still have an old school CD player. You can have an 8-track for all I care. However you get your music is how you get your music.
Yes.
But it's such a blessing to me because to me music is in fact how feelings sound.
Yes.
And I think being able to really talk about how and who has impacted is incredibly important to me. Because I know real artists. Let's talk about real artists, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of
real
out here right now.
There's some people who are in it for different reasons.
Yeah.
But when you talk about real art, real artists want to know and they connect to their fans because it's a feeling. And they know that, right? So, when did you first start your love affair with music?
I think like most, well, I can't speak to everyone, but I feel like you hear it might sound so cliche, but in the church.
Yeah.
I grew up in a Baptist church. My family has been attending since my dad was a kid there.
Yeah.
We were like pushed into singing in the youth choir and taking on solos we didn't want to take on.
Same.
But wasn't just some Easter speeches. But being pushed into the choir, and sometimes you hate that you're being forced to sit in this choir and sing these songs because in your mind some of it is cheesy, but then you go home and you're singing them, not even realizing it because you actually love the gospel music that you're listening to. Growing up in the 90s and early 2000s, like Kirk Franklin was the joint.
Everything.
So we had family members that were in similar type of choirs. My dad was a part of one. I can't remember what the name of the choir was, but they were like on Living Single and doing stuff like that. So those things became a pillar in my day to day. So that's where the music started. And then my dad is also someone who collects vinyls, and has always been. Like, he's a gigantic Donna Summer fan.
Hey now.
And he's a painter. So I've seen where my dad has painted a full Donna Summer on his bedroom wall and painted all her album covers around her. Yeah. From his teen years. So playing vinyls after work or on the weekend or Sunday cleanup, you know, those times, like, that was a real thing in my household. So vinyls were never anything new to me. Me starting to collect and develop my own library for it is, I want to say I started within the past, 10 years, but it's always been normal to me. Like, some people, it's like it's a trend to them now, right? But it's always been normal for me.
Same. That is so funny that you mentioned that. I was talking about this with my friends probably 3 weeks ago. I was in like a youth choir, and they're like, huh? And I was like, definitely was in a church.
St. John Missionary Baptist Church Angel Choir. Okay.
Look, yes.
We was
New Mount Pleasant.
We were Sister Act 2.
Amen.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was us.
Amen. But that was legitimately it. And I remember that as a kid too, because I think I was in the choir when I was like 8, something like that, right? Yeah. And then the same, and it's funny because we have that same connection. My dad collected vinyls, and I could remember. It's funny because people say like, you can't remember when you're that young.
Oh, you
said, oh no, I remember being in a high chair.
Yeah.
And he's in the kitchen cooking and singing to these vinyls. Dancing with me at 2 a.m. because I'm a toddler and I can't sleep. Yeah. Right? Like, those are like ingrained in my mind. Right? And hearing the scratch of a vinyl is literally like a hug. It's like a hug.
Yes.
It's the most addicting thing in the world to me. So I told you we have 257,000 things that we connect on.
Only a million, but
slightly.
Infinity.
Right? So coming in today, and one of the questions that I ask, and I'm going to be asking every single person on this podcast, is what is that album or song that literally like took off for you?
I mean, like I said, always been listening to music and vinyls, all genres. But the album for me, that would be like the first album I played front to back, word for word, was Missy Elliott's Supa Dupa Fly.
Can we say that? Can we say that one more time?
Hello, it was Missy Elliott's Supa Dupa Fly.
Literally, GOAT. Like, when you say...
Can't find it anywhere.
Go, right.
Like, can't find her vinyls any freaking where. Missy, cannot. If you're watching this, please re-release.
Please re-release.
Something for your girl, because $300 holla for a vinyl is radical.
Right. When I
worth every penny. But sis,
worth all the ducats.
I'm a real single mom.
Right. So, because when I tell you, I was looking hard for that vinyl, and I was like, oh, $300, we doing it. But at the same time, like you said, she is 1,000%.
She's 1,000% worth it.
Absolutely worth it. And first of all, let's take it back for a second. Supa Dupa Fly released July 1997.
Yeah.
I was 11 at the time, right? And I remember it coming out and sitting there thinking, let's talk about the collabs that happened on this album, but the primary writers on this album, Missy, Timbaland, Magoo.
Yeah.
Right?
All high school friends.
Right. All high school friends trying something brand new.
Yeah.
Right? Trying to put the most different sound out there, and baby, did she land it. She landed that plane, and there's so much respect for that. And one thing we also do here on the record is respect the entire process.
Yes.
Right? We got the artist, we got the writers, we got the producers, right? You got composers in some of those songs, right? You got features coming in. You got Busta Rhymes on this album. Yeah, you got Lil' Kim on this album.
You got the Brat.
You got the Brat on this album.
You got G.O.A.T.
Right, like you have so much in here where you're like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Like brilliance. And it was at the beginning for most of them.
Yeah.
Right? And we didn't know they were all gonna end up being like great.
Yeah. It came out when it came out. I was 8, so I wasn't really listening to it. It wasn't until I was headed to middle school, which was 2000.
Yeah.
That I was able to get my hands on it and listen to it. So this was one of the first CDs I walked into a store and bought. You had in my little flip book of CDs, you know, like
that portfolio, that disc.
Me and my sister are 5 years apart, so she kind of had one, and I would kind of sneak and listen to hers. But Missy was like the one I got to add to the collection.
You know
because,
what?
You know, I went and got it. So I probably shouldn't have been listening to it, but I was. I have a older cousin who used to live in Nebraska. So this was like one of her favorite albums. And when she moved back to California, her and my aunt, I spent the summer before I went to middle school with them. Yeah. So this was the CD that she always had in the car playing. Yeah. So it was the album I wanted to go buy because when I had to go home, I still wanted to listen to this album. So it was a summer riding all through South Central LA, listening to Supa Dupa Fly. I don't even remember what kind of hoopty she had at the time, but it was just an album we listened to. And she's like 10 years older than me, so I'm thinking I'm cool riding around with my big cousin, and I'm listening to this music I shouldn't be listening to, you know. And so it was like, yeah, you gonna buy it for me? Like, I can't go in the store and get it, but you can get it for me.
You
like,
can get it for me.
Yeah, you can get it for
me.
Yeah, so that was that album.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Every song.
She said every song.
Every ad lib.
Yes. Because the ad libs make it. Let's be clear. It's nothing without that little ad lib. Yeah. Right. How was it? Because this was our first real big introduction of just Missy Elliot in general. We're like, who is she? Right? How was that for you, getting introduced to this beautiful black woman?
So The Rain was the single to the album. So I had heard that multiple times via radio or whatever because it was the single. But after I got to like see the music video, it was like, I want to listen to the rest of it. And then my cousin comes and I get to listen to the rest of it. But it was seeing this black woman, heavier black woman, this tomboy, which I could relate to, but this tomboy that had a constant reminder that she was this woman, full-fledged woman, in her confidence and in her style and everything else about her. It attracted me to her because I've never been the straight up and down friend. I've always been the curvier friend. My dad's side of the family were very curvy. So seeing her be so confident in who she was and how she carried herself, and she went from singing to rapping, so it was like still that piece of like being this tomboy, like I'm a girl's girl, but I'm with the shits too. You know, like which is very much so London Denise, Lou B, Broadnax. Tis I. Yes. She is me, I am she, Missy. Yes. So everything about Missy Elliot attracted me to her. So it made me want to listen to her even more because just her aura and her presence made me stand still. That
sentence alone, her aura and her presence just made me stand still.
Yeah.
coming up as a curvy little black girl, because I know a little something about that, as well, is such a battle in your head.
Yes.
Like, it's a constant battle in your head.
Yes.
Trying to figure out how to fit in, right? Or trying to figure out, like, is there something wrong with me? Trying to figure out, what is all of this body and what does that mean? Is it a bad thing?
Yeah.
Right? And seeing somebody being so unapologetically themselves on camera and doing whatever creatively she feels she wants to do, she's gonna do that. Because we saw her in like a trash bag out. I just remember, like, it's glued in my brain.
Yeah, it's like,
right?
She got the big gallon, 32-gallon trash bag.
But you like, that shit is dope.
Yeah, it's fly.
Like, it's so
and y'all
fly.
all want to be her following.
And you still want to be all up on her, right? As a result.
Yeah.
And I love that about her too. And as that little girl who was trying to find anybody that looks like us, right? Yeah. Whether it's on TV, in a music video, singing a song. What was one thing that helped you start to kind of figure that out at that moment, just for yourself? Because where were you in that place at that time?
You know, being, like I said, being the curvier one in your friend group all the time, you're like always like, oh, like, I don't look like how I'm supposed to look like.
Right, exactly.
And it helped me realize that I don't have to look like y'all. I don't have to dress like y'all. I don't have to be shaped like y'all. I don't have to wear my hair like y'all. I can be as creative as I want to be.
Yes.
Because sometimes I think we suppress our creativity to appeal to the masses.
You do.
And I didn't.
After
Missy, I didn't. Like, I didn't care.
You know how much I love that? Like, it makes me want to tear up. Because you're like, after her, I was like, we're done with that.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, I don't have to.
Right. And that's one thing that drew me to you in the beginning. Because how long have we been riding together at this point?
Well,
we're in like
pre-pandemic, so.
Right. We're in like a solid 6 years at this point, right?
Yeah.
And when I came into the studio the first day, and I'm like, like, who is she? Because I was seeing, he was over there burning. He was getting it done, right? And I think I was there that day to get lashes done or something by somebody else.
There to get everything.
Everything as usual, right? It eventually ends up being that. But I was like, she's steady. She's so confident. Like, I don't know if you know that you admit that.
I don't, because sometimes I still battle with it. Yeah. You know, I still second guess or, you know, just be in my head at times. So when I hear people tell me certain things, sometimes it's a little hard to receive a compliment or to believe in myself. Right. Like, even though y'all may believe it, it's still a little bit for me to absorb it sometimes. Yeah. But then you have certain reminders that help you along the way. Like, you know, you snap back out of it. But yeah.
Because there's definitely those days. We all have those days.
Yeah, because sometimes I just feel like I'm just being me, and I feel like that's regular. So when people like, no, you are
right, exactly,
this, and I'm like, oh, I'm London,
exactly.
It's like,
because
I wasn't trying, you know, like, you know, sometimes you feel like when you're trying is when it's supposed to be noticed, but
right, you know. It's not. When you're just your authentic self, that's when it shines. Yeah. Like, and that was my thing. And then obviously we became literal, like, connected sisters after that point. But I think it's something that we can all relate to, because you talk about, like, some days, that's just not how I feel.
Yeah,
some days I'm definitely still struggling with that piece. Yeah. How do you kind of snap yourself out of that when you get to that place now, even as a grown?
This might sound a little asshole-ish, but sometimes I look at other people and I be like, girl, why the fuck is you tripping? Look at that. That is a mess, girl. Yes. Like, and you are not that mess. Like, you know, and then sometimes just a sudden reminder. Sometimes it's just the small things, like compliments you might give or something my son might say to me that's uplifting, or just taking a step back, sometimes going through my old journals and reading what my thoughts used to be and what they are now about certain things, the reminders of the growth and what I used to pray for and things I don't have to pray for anymore.
Yeah, and I love that. And what was the prayer before?
Confidence. I pray for confidence.
Mm.
I pray for confidence. I pray to be comfortable as me.
Yeah.
In my own identity, not trying to portray the identity of anyone else. I didn't want to be comfortable in somebody else's identity. I wanted to be comfortable in my own.
Exactly.
So yeah, that was the prayer.
There's only one Lou.
Yeah, you know.
And there can only be one Lou.
Broke the mold.
Broke the mold. When I tell you, I love that you say you prayed for confidence, because you were like, because sometimes it's like, I can't sit here very long. And it takes a while to kind of get to that point in your head where you're like, this is exhausting.
Yeah, that too. Sometimes you're like, girl,
because this is exhausting.
Yeah, this is, you do a lot better if you get over this.
Right.
So let it go.
Right.
Let it go.
And how do you figure out how to let it go? And because there's people dealing with that right now as we speak.
You listen to Missy Elliot albums.
You listen to Missy.
You listen to other female artists.
Yes.
You wear your stiletto pumps in the club.
Yeah.
You thank God it's Friday with Glorilla.
Right.
Like, you just do these things to get past
Yes.
this ignorance of not knowing who you are. Like,
Right.
you listen to music. Like, it helps. You pray. You listen to your gospel. I like that there's this new genre of even like R&B gospel, you know, or gospel rap. Like, I listen to those things in the morning to get my momentum and my mental right.
Absolutely.
So when those help,
man.
And then I go into Glorilla. I know my neighbors are very confused.
There ain't nothing wrong with it. You can love Jesus and trap music.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it.
I would say all the time, like, I know my neighbors are confused. They're like, is she hippie, holy, hood, hoe? What is it? Because the music is all over the place. Like, the shuffle is bananas. Like, what is it?